Welcome to lecture 35. In this lecture we will solve a numerical on salient pole synchronous generator. The problem is that we have a synchronous generator here. It's a salient pole machine. It has a direct axis reactance of 0.8 and a quadrature axis reactance of 0.5. And the terminal voltage is 1 per unit, that is the grid voltage is 1 per unit. It is carrying a current of 1 per unit. So there is the numericals are given in per unit so that it is easy for us to solve. So how will we solve this? Let's try to draw a phasor diagram and understand. So what we will do, we will first, this is my V, this is given to be 1 per unit, and one more thing is given, power factor is equal to 0.8 lag. So the current that is flowing through the machine is also given, that is magnitude of I is given and this angle is given. This angle is cos inverse 0.8, that is 36.86. Now what we will do, from the tip of, we will first draw IAXQ. You can refer to last lecture. If we add V plus IAXQ, if we add V plus IAXQ, we get E dash. We get E dash. Along with E dash, we also get this angle delta. This is not E, it is E dash. So let's first do this part. So here E dash at an angle delta is equal to V at an angle 0 plus IA at an angle, this angle, so that is minus 36.86 into XQ at an angle of 90 degree. So this represents this line, this represents this line, we want to find this line. So if you substitute the value, it is 1, since it is given in per unit, 1 at an angle 0 plus IA is also 1 at an angle of minus 36 degree plus 90 degree. It will give you 53.1 degree. They have taken it to be 36.9, so 53.1 degree. Okay. Now this is a simple thing, you can solve it, and if you solve it you can find it to be 1.3 per unit at an angle of 17.1 degree. What does it mean? It means that this EF dash has a magnitude of 1.3 and this angle delta is 17.1 degree. Next, what we have to do with this EF dash, we have to add another value in the same direction, and this will be our EF. Now what is the magnitude from this line to this point to this point? This is, we have derived it in the last class, it is ID into XD minus XQ. Value of XD and XQ is given here. What we need to find is ID. So what is ID? ID is nothing but IA. ID is equal to IA sin psi. Now what is psi? Psi is the angle between E and I. You have to understand that we have to measure from E to I. E to I is positive. So if E is leading and I is lagging, the angle is positive. So here E is leading, I is lagging. So here psi is equal to 17.1, this angle, plus they have taken it to be 36.9, that is equal to 54 degree. So psi, that is the angle between E and I, is 54 degree here. If E and I is 54 degree, then we can calculate ID is equal to IA is 1 into sine of 54 degree. That turns out to be 0.81. So what is ID into XD minus XQ? It is 0.81 into 0.8 minus 0.5. That turns out to be 0.243. So this length from here to here is 0.243. So from here to here it is 1.3, from here to here it is 0.243. So EF, we can write EF is equal to EF dash plus ID into XD minus XQ, that is equal to 1.36 plus 0.24, that is equal to 1.60 per unit. Please understand that these are magnitude. What is the angle of, so what will be E value of E will be 1.60 at an angle of 17.1 degree. This is the magnitude, this is the angle. So this is how we can calculate this. Now you need to understand one thing regarding this angle psi, that is the angle between E and IA. Let's consider a case of a generator where the I is leading V. Let's say that this is my V, current is leading somewhere here. Okay. If this is the current, IAXQ will be like this, perpendicular to this in this direction. So if this is V, this is V, this is, what is this? This is IAXQ. This is V, this is IAXQ. If you add these two, you will get this is IXQ, this is V. So here we are getting EF dash. It is not necessary that always EF will be greater than EF dash. It can be other way also. Now if you see here, if this is my I, if I split this I along two component, one along E, now this is my IQ and this is my ID. If you look here, if I split this IA along two part, one along E, another perpendicular to E. So this is my IQ, this is my ID. So if this is ID, what will be the direction of the drop ID into XD minus XQ? It will be in this direction. This will be ID into XD minus XQ. So if this is my E, ID into XD minus XQ will be in this direction. ID into XD minus XQ will be in this direction. So